I was watching a movie with my daughter. It was called The Lost Weekend. I think this is a movie from 1945. There's a part in the movie and it's all about alcoholism. And the protagonist in the movie, he's struggling real hard with alcoholism. And in fact, in the time that this movie come out, it was just unheard of to see true depictions of alcoholism in movies. Before that, they always, the drunkard was always portrayed in a comical light. And so this movie, I think it won the Academy Award for that year. And again, I think it was 1945. But anyway, I was watching that movie, and she happened to be with me. It was troublesome for her. I mean, it was bothersome for her. It bothered her. And so she started asking me lots of questions about alcoholism and addiction and stuff like that. Now, bear in mind, my daughter's only 6. So I thought, wow, what a really great experience. Me just sitting here watching this movie for myself, but she's here with me, and it's provoking all these questions, that are important for parents and children to have. So while Eloise, my daughter, and I were watching this movie, The Lost Weekend, in the movie, there is a scene where he's trying to give up the alcohol, and he's going through withdrawals and everything, and he begins having these hallucinations, and it's just terrifying him. And he begins screaming. For example, he sees a bat he sees a rat coming through his wall. Then he sees a bat in the room with him, and then the bat attacks the rat and kills it. And it's just all hallucination from where he's coming down off this withdrawal from alcohol. It scared my daughter, and she said, "Boy, that's scary." And I said, "That is scary." Of course, I was drinking some bourbon. She said, "Boy, I hope that don't ever happen to you." And so I had to reassure her that alcohol in itself is not anything bad. And in fact, hardly anything on its own is bad. It's when it's abused and not used in moderation. So I tried to set her mind at ease. But then I thought, I want to assure her also that this part of the movie scaring her is perfectly normal and nothing to be ashamed about or anything like that. She's pretty good at that, because she's grown up with me and I've always handled things that way. But I'm in the habit of doing that. When she shares her feelings with me, especially a vulnerable feeling, like, boy, Daddy, that scares me, I like to try to find something that I can share with her so that it's a give and take, right? You revealed this about yourself. I want to show you that I appreciate you revealing that part of yourself and that I don't think it's silly by sharing a vulnerability of my own. So I told her a story about when I was a kid. I was staying over at a friend's house. This is a cowboy friend of mine who rides rodeo and everything. His name's Eugene. I call him Huey. Real good lifelong friend of mine. But when I was a kid, I was staying at his house. He had like 19 brothers and sisters. Big old family. One night we were watching Oliver Twist. Now I know that there's been several iterations of this movie. How old was I? Probably 12, right around there. There's a scene in the movie where somebody hits somebody else in the head with a log from the fire. Hits them real hard in the head. I think it was a woman. As she falls down, when she gets back up, her eyes are crossed. She'd been hit in the head that hard. That one scene in the movie frightened me so much I could not get it out of my head. And then, of course, after that we go to bed and we're lying in the dark, and my mind is just playing that over and over and over again. And I told my daughter about that. I didn't tell her about the eyes crossing. All I told her was that there was this scene in the movie. She's like, "Well, what was it that scared you?" And I didn't want to give too many details because I didn't want to scare her. And I said, "Well, there was just a scene where somebody hit somebody else, and it was really scary." "Well, why? What'd they hit him with?" And I said, "Well, it was firewood." "What was the part that was so scary?" I said, "Well, what happened to the person who got hit was scary to me at that age." And I told her, "Man, I just went to bed, and I just lay in that bed, that going over and over again in my mind. I couldn't shake it." And I said, "It was really scared me." So it's perfectly natural, this guy screaming and seeing things on this movie from 1945 called The Lost Weekend would be scary to you. that's a good habit to get into with your kids, or with anybody really. You guys with your girlfriends with your guys, husbands, wives, friends. That's what intimacy really is. You share a vulnerability with me, I'll share an honest to God vulnerability with you, and we will bond over that sort of thing. Get to know each other that way. So I do it with my daughter. I try to do it with other people too that I feel close to.